And now for part 3 of my interview with CNN primetime host Campbell Brown. There's such a tremendous interest on Sarah Palin, and one of the things I've wondered about is whether the fact that she has 5 children and was governor and was conducting this vice presidential campaign, if somehow women are particularly interested in that. Women on the left who might have vigorously disagreed with her, at a minimum might have respected how she was able to do that, or not. What is your take on that?
I think it made her fascinating. I think we all want role models, you know, but we want role models to exactly sort of fit into our mold of what they should look like, and they don't always. But we do want to see successful working mothers balancing it in ways that we can look up and relate to. And, you know, I think that in many ways she didn't do it the way a lot of people would have done it, or she did it, you know, exactly the way other people would have done it. And so you had this really, you know, a divided country when it came to her, of very strong opinions about her. A lot of that just had to do with her politics, pure and simple, and not about the fact that she was a mother. But I do think for women in particular, how she was approaching her career, her you know, how she was approaching raising her children, made her especially fascinating and really seemed to provoke real passions in a lot of women on both sides with regard to how they felt about her.
Exactly. Will she become less interesting now that she will soon be Citizen Palin?
It depends on what she does. I don't know yet. I really don't. It depends on what she does. We don't know what her plans are. I'm not sure she's disappearing from the political scene. I don't think she is. So I think, you know, she is going to be of enormous interest to political junkies for the foreseeable future. But maybe she will. I don't know. I'm not sure she knows yet.
Let's talk for a minute about Rush Limbaugh, because at several points it almost seemed as if he was the de facto head of the Republican Party. Now, he denied this and said this was a fabrication of the White House and the media. Do you think that too often the media is a target? That's
sort of, I think, what you often hear politicians on the right and the left do when they kind of don't have anything else to talk about. You know, if you're making a case for something you're passionate about and something you believe in, you don't have time to blame the media. You know, there's not blame. The blame game is not a part of the process. But when you're looking for a scapegoat, I think that's often the route people take. So I don't spend a lot of time on that as an issue or debating that about, you know, the culpability of the media, or should we or shouldn't we be blaming the media, or getting up in arms about why we're always, you know, getting kicked around. Yeah, I often have trouble taking it seriously. You know, they're good journalists and they're bad journalists, and they're, you know, they're good doctors and they're bad doctors, and they're good lawyers and they're bad lawyers. You know, the media, I don't even know what that means anymore, especially in this day and age, as we were talking about.
It's not a monolithic group.
It's not. And so blaming the media just doesn't, what does that mean?
It seems like an easy target.
Exactly.
Now, your interview earlier in the year with Tucker Bounds on the McCain campaign generated a lot of interest, both pro and con. What was your take on the interview and why you think it attracted such attention?
Well, my take was that it was a pretty straightforward interview. You know, we named our show for a period of time, No Bias, No Bull, because that has always been kind of my approach, especially when I came to CNN and took over the show. I mean, that was what I wanted to do with journalism, was stop pretending that the talking points are acceptable, or that they're anywhere close to the reality that is taking place around us. I mean, I was a White House correspondent for NBC News for a while, and I remember being assigned to cover certain things, you know, a summit between 2 leaders. And the way these things work is that everything, any deals, any negotiating, any agreements are all worked out ahead of time, right? And the reporting on it, there's nothing more than a handshake really taking place, and yet we would cover these summits as though there was like a big, magnificent thing happening and lead the news with it, and it always was like, this is theater. This is theater. I mean, you see that, frankly, with the Sotomayor hearings taking place. Of course of course there's a litmus test in abortion, but we all pretend like there isn't, and everyone goes into these hearings and they don't talk about it. And what I wanted to do with this show is to pull back the curtain a little bit and to recognize that the audience is sophisticated enough to know that there is a litmus test on abortion, and that these are the issues that matter, and that, many of these summits and things that they see taking place in the White House don't really mean anything, that the real decisions are getting made behind closed doors. And I've tried, when people like Tucker Bounds, who is a spokesman for the McCain campaign, or was at the time, come on to the show, to stop them when they go into talking point mode, is just say, stop. I don't want to hear it. The audience doesn't want to hear it. Our time is too valuable. Talk to us like we're intelligent people, and be straight with us about what's going on. And I tried to get him to answer a straight question, and he didn't have a good answer to a very straight question. And so I continued asking it, and I just wouldn't let go. And I think that resonated with a lot of people, because, I think journalism, in the interest of trying to be so balanced and giving both sides their moment, is that we're often creating sort of this false equivalency that doesn't exist. And, I think people connected with me just saying, no, answer the question. Otherwise, don't come on the show. I'm not here to just let you give a press conference. We have an hour of television, and this is journalism.
So we're going to be seeing more of that on your show?
It's what we constantly try to do. I mean, to me, it is, this is the analogy I often use to explain to people, when you've got one political candidate saying it's raining outside and one political candidate saying it's sunny outside, I, as a journalist, should be able to look out the window and make a determination. Is it raining or is it sunny? I don't have to go on TV and say, candidate A says this and candidate B says this, so you decide. No, I can look. I mean, there is right and there is wrong. That's what I mean about this false equivalency, that I think we just took too far sometimes in journalism. So we're just trying to cut through that and get to the heart of what matters. And when there is a clear and obvious answer, say it. And shockingly, sometimes people, I think, find that refreshing.